Okay, so this evening we're going to have the public hearing first, and then we'll do the regular meeting. George, for the public hearing, am I going to read just the yellow sheet and not? Okay, just making sure. All right. I will call to order the Board of Trustees of Batavia Public Library public hearing for 17th July 2018. This is a public hearing to approve our annual budget. So would you please start by calling the roll?
Blodgett, Kulata.
Here.
Beechman.
Here.
Garrett.
Here.
Enders.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Smith. Here.
Joanne? All right, as I mentioned, this is a public hearing for an ordinance approving and adopting the annual budget and appropriation for the library purposes for the fiscal year beginning 1 July 2018 and ending 30 June 2019. This is ordinance number 2018-007. Section 1 of the ordinance, this is a public hearing on an ordinance approving and adopting the annual budget and appropriation for library purposes for fiscal year beginning 1 July 2018, ending 30 June 2019. In accordance with Illinois statutes and the library district, published a legal notice of the public hearing on the Thursday, 21st of June 2018 in the Kane County Chronicle. The ordinance in tentative form was available for public inspection for at least 30 days prior to this hearing at the reference desk and the business office of the Batavia Public Library during regular business hours. Is there any person here who desires to present testimony to the taxing district represented by this Board of Library Trustees? Would you please step forward at this time? Okay. So attached is the ordinance here, which was in the paper. That is all I have for this. Do I need a motion to adjourn? May I have a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you, Joanne.
Second.
Thank you, Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
All right.
I just missed the first little one here, so perfect. Okay, so we've had our public hearing. Now I will call to order the Board of Trustees of Batavia Public Library, our regular meeting for Tuesday, 17 July 2018. Will everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Joanne, would you please call the roll?
Blodgett.
Here.
Kulata.
Here.
Beechman.
Here.
Garrett.
Here.
Enders.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Smith. Here.
Great, thank you. We'd like to start with comments from the audience. If you would please state your name.
Sure. I'm Daniel Russo, and along with Catherine Hubbard, I served as a co-chair of the Speak Up Citizens Engagement Committee. And we made our formal presentation a few weeks ago. And tonight, I'd like to just make a few observations and highlight two of our time-sensitive recommendations. The Speak Up Planning Committee started organizing in October, and then we planned 4 public meetings to which everyone was invited. Our February meeting looked at the library today, and that was really maybe the most fun of all of the meetings, because we heard people talk about the librarians who can help them find any piece of information, the friendly staff, how important book delivery is for seniors, free technology instruction, early literacy so babies start learning to read even before they walk. We heard about programs that appealed to people of all ages, streaming services, museum passes, tutoring rooms, and services that are available online 24/7. The second meeting in March looked at the future of libraries, and this was a chance to dream about the future. We looked at how technology is affecting every aspect of libraries. We discussed hours of service and adding new options such as 3D printing, but still emphasizing what libraries have always done, and that's help people make, create, and innovate. The April meeting, our third session, looked at the capital asset plan and library finances. This was a meeting of facts and figures. And a fact is that the new Batavia Public Library has been open to the public for 16 years. On a personal level, we can take a look at what that means. Some of the first graders who attended that opening in 2002 are now 5 years into their careers. Others have graduated from college and are finishing their first year of work, we hope. And others are starting graduate school. I suspect that all of them are avid library users because they got a great start at Batavia Library. Everyone on Speak Up was very impressed with the capital assets plan. As you know, that's that 20-year projection of repair and maintenance expenses for the library, including the site, roofing, facade, interior spaces, elevators, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection infrastructure for all 54,000 square feet of the building. In the library finance section, we learned that 95% of the budget comes from property taxes and that there are some funding challenges ahead. In the main meeting, we put everything together to be sure that we heard people correctly. For anyone who missed a session, I would advise them to go to the library's website to view videos and to read reports of each of those sessions. We finalized a series of suggestions for the library, and tonight, as I said, I want to highlight the 2 time-sensitive recommendations. One of those time-sensitive recommendations is that we recommend that the library maintain the community's investment in the library building and site by systematically planning to address long-term maintenance needs. The second recommendation was to ask voters to approve transferring the 7 cents tax rate for construction bonds to the library's tax rate for operations, with 0 increase to the tax rate. Speak Up participants unanimously approved these recommendations because they make sense. Many of us who own homes can understand that plumbing problems need immediate attention. Landscape projects enhance not only our homes, but our neighborhoods. And of course, maintaining the roof protects the entire structure. Delayed maintenance is always more expensive. This is an opportune time to plan for maintenance funds. Because the construction bonds are being paid in full, the 7 cents that was going to construction bonds can now go to operations with 0 increase to the tax rate. This provides 2 huge benefits to the library. First, the library will have the resources to maintain our outstanding facility. And 2, the library will have the flexibility to enhance the library experience of all our users. Please consider the recommendations of Speak Up as you discuss putting a tax rate proposal on the November ballot. And thank you for your work as library trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Do we have any other comments from the audience? Okay, thank you. The next item is to approve our consent agenda. I have one item I'd like to change on that. We have on the consent agenda, we have the minutes from our meeting, regular meeting on the 19th of June, the closed session on the 19th of June. The minutes for the special meeting on the 3rd of July, I'd like to defer those till the next meeting. Those aren't quite complete yet. And then we have our closed session minutes from also on the 3rd of July. We have our expenditures. from June of 2018, and then we have an ordinance approving and adopting the annual budget and appropriation for library purposes for the fiscal year from 1 July 2018 to 30 June 2019. That's what we had the public hearing with at the start of the meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Kate.
Second.
Thank you, Diane. So we need a roll call vote for this, please.
Blodgett,
Aye.
Kuletta,
Aye.
Deitchman,
Aye.
Garrett,
Aye.
Enders.
Aye.
McKenzie.
Aye.
Smith, aye.
Okay. Now I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. First item, or next item, 7, is the financial reports for June of 2018. And Joe?
Two comments. Number one, the auditors start this coming Friday. They do one-day field work, and that is this Friday. And basically, I think most of the expenditures are through last year. I'm still waiting for one fairly large invoice, which was factored in. With that factored in, we're adding to the library fund balance about $47,000 in last year, and that's exclusive of the transfers and everything else. So.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Joe? President's report. We don't have anything special to report other than what we've been talking about, or what we'll talk about this evening. Do we have any, item 9 is good news and comments from the board. Does anybody have anything they want to comment upon? Okay. Correspondence and communications. Was there anything in the packet, George?
We do not have anything.
Anything to share today? Okay.
Actually, I should, I'm not sure this goes into director report or communications, but it's more of a communication. NBC TV will be here tomorrow outside the library, a little colonnade by the street as a part of a special feature that is being produced on the Batavia High School football team. They somehow selected some number of teams for one reason or another, and since Batavia has won a state championship, and actually 2 in the last 4 years or something like that, Batavia got selected, and the happy chance of having 30 Bulldogs on the street as part of the Bulldogs Elite program, I think iced the deal. So
Nice.
there'll be a camera crew and Coach Piron, several football players, and I don't know who all will be outside the library sometime tomorrow morning, and then they'll be taking then NBC will be working with some of the Bulldogs Unleashed people to go around town and see some of the Bulldogs. So I have no idea when this will air or how long it will be, but it seems pretty exciting, and they're starting off at the library.
That's excellent.
Very good.
All right. Okay. So directors and librarians reports.
Okay, the written report is in your packet, and there's really not much in here at the moment, but I will mention that we have all of the statistical reports are attached this month.
Oh, nice. We're able to get those
From Swan,
Okay.
and different staff members have worked diligently to pull the numbers together. Particularly Carrie Halter in Technical Services, and she noted that her numbers she considers them estimates because of the methodology she had to use, but she feels they're reasonably accurate.
Okay.
And then Stephanie DeYoung in Circulation was able to pull together the circulation reports. And it's getting easier, I think, for them, but the way the reports we get from Swan work, many libraries don't distinguish a picture book or a teen book from a book. They may not even distinguish a fiction book from a nonfiction book. So some of the items that come to us from other libraries, it's a bit of a challenge to distinguish what category to put them in. So, but Stephanie figured that out. So, haven't got those late last week, so haven't done any analysis on them. But I wanted to just point out that we have them for you this time.
That's great.
With that, I guess I'll turn it over to Joanne and Stephanie.
Okay, next one, quick question. How did the cleaning crew and everything, did that go well, getting that started? And is
I
that-
will defer to the interim facilities services manager for that report.
It's going well.
Okay.
We're working through, they're getting used to the building and what's required and what we need and what we expect, so we're working through it, but it's a huge help.
Okay, good. That's where I was going.
Thank you.
And then-
And I have one question on the circulation statistics. There's something here I haven't seen before. The deposit collection, the Batavia apartments, I know what those are. Rack at the Track, is that just a different name for?
No, it turns out we really haven't been tracking the rack at the track, but
Where
at the
is it?
Geneva train station,
Oh.
Train station.
there is a paper bag.
Train tracks, not
Yeah.
horse.
Like we're going all the way up?
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah,
Arlington Park.
I didn't know we had, I didn't
Going to
know we helped.
Hawthorne and.
I didn't know we put books over there.
We do, in fact, it's a tri-city initiative. Batavia, Geneva, and St. Charles rotate months.
Okay.
And our month just came up, and in the process, I asked whether this number was embedded someplace else, and it turns out that we really weren't keeping track of that number, although it's not a huge number. With deposit collections, rather than come up with some goofy estimate for how many times things are used, we just say how many items we place there.
Great, okay.
So 120 is nice, because when I had to take a trip to Chicago recently, there were, what did I say, Stacy, 3 books on the whole rack. It was pretty pitiful, and I think
I've never seen that view.
either there was a big rush on them, or
Nobody's.
our other 2 libraries really weren't paying much attention lately. But so how often do we go during our month? How often do we go out there? Periodically.
We do a big delivery at the beginning of the month and then check in on it, I think, once a month.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, so it's new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it jumped out at me.
Yeah. We've been doing it for years, but the report is.
Great. Hi, Joanne, it looks like you have some show and tell for us.
I have show and tell.
Joanne always does.
I like to bring things.
We like that.
Well, tonight I'm kind of showing and telling some of the things that we purchased with per capita grant monies this year. And we focused on a few different areas, and one of them was the little play area down in our department. One of the things that we heard from community engagement was people love that area for their children to come and play, but there's sometimes so many children down there, there's limits on what is available down there. So Kathleen Redmond, one of our youth services librarians, is looking at that area and trying to put some more items out for creative play. So during the next few months, some new things will be showing up there. And I just brought a few things that I asked her to pick a couple things that I could bring for show and tell tonight. And so she sent me with the Vet's Animal Doctor Kit, so you can take a look at that. It's cute.
Fun.
She sent me with, this is a nice little learning and play item as well. So there's little shapes and zipper, so there's different tasks. And then she also really wanted me to send some puppets that she'll be putting out there. So she has a lot of things that she's collected, that she's purchased with per capita grant, and will be, like I say, slowly putting that into the mix in that area. We also decided to beef up some of our kit collections. That we'll be checking at things that are checkoutable that people can take home. So again, early literacy, we often get the question about, my child putting together words to make sentences. So kind of a nice little puzzle game for that. a mathematics game by Apple Fractions and how to do fractions. So we have math books, we have some puzzles and games, but this is so much more of a hands-on than just the item. And then here's another early literacy item, which may or may not be checking out in a bag or may be used. But one of the early literacy ideas is to really understand the shapes that letters are. And so this kind of helps you construct those shapes. So that will be an interesting game as well. And then a couple of our STEM science activities. We'll be using some of these for in-house events, and then we'll be talking to circulation and technical services managers about the possibility of circulating some of these items. But one we'll be using this probably at a future program, our little weather station. It's a really nice little thing. And this one, you have to come and see the observation station in October, and you can be creating your whole skeletal structure with our magnetic bones. And we are hoping to get some animal bones out there too to show. But that one will be featured in our observation station. So I just wanted to show you a few of the things that we will be adding the next few months down in youth services as a result of our per capita grant dollars. And excuse me, BATV, while I send the cart over to Ms. Moker, who can stack it all back up again. So watch for those things coming to youth services. But I really still need to talk about Summer Reading Club. We have about 3 weeks left in Summer Reading Club. We have about 1,000 children who have already come in to record, but we are finding that more people are still coming in for their first login, so we'll be getting more children in as well as time goes on. And they have until August 6th to come in to start collecting or to collect their rewards. So they have about 3 weeks yet. We've had a lot of programs. You probably remember me mentioning at the beginning of the summer that we had over 90 events planned this summer. And I will send around some pictures from recent events since the last board members. We've had, you'll see on there, some of our play and learn activities for babies and toddlers, preschoolers listening to stories and making craft projects during story time and other events. Elementary children were traveled to Asia in our Passport Club the last few weeks. Middle schoolers made candy sushi. This has been kind of an Asian the last 2 weeks. And today, just today, this morning, we had 103 children and adults here for Explore Japan. And they played Pokemon bowling, and they made fish kites, and they did old origami, and practiced using their chopstick skills, picking up little things, which they are remarkably very good at, much better than I am with chopsticks. So it was just a lot of fun today. We still have a lot of great programs happening. Family trivia is coming up. Winnie the Pooh party next week on Thursday at 11. We have Potterpalooza on the 31st of July coming up. And of course, chess nights on Tuesday. So lots of things still coming up this summer. And then just one more reminder that Summer Reading Club does come to the end August 6th. It will be almost unbelievable that we'll have gone for almost 11 weeks already since the end of school and getting all that excitement and reading together by the time Summer Reading Club's over. So still some time to participate, and I'm sure Stacy will remind adults of that as well. But any questions?
Not about the youth services, I think that's, on your report too is about the staff development day?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that coming up, or is that?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's August 24th.
Okay.
So it's
And what kind of things you do?
So we generally have, this year we have a presenter coming in from Sikich, and we're doing, they'll be giving some workshops on harassment. We always have a safety component, so this year we'll be doing a fire drill on our safety component. We're working on doing a service project for staff to do a service project together that will benefit our Born to Read program and Chip In. We're doing birthday bags for children that Chip In gives out to children. So we have also, we'll be reviewing then our harassment policy as well. So we do it, the day's made up of a variety of things, but team building, education. This year we're including the service project, and then always a safety component as well.
Is the library open that day?
The library is not open that day.
Thank you.
Library will be closed all day.
August 24th.
On August 24th, right.
Thank you. I was gonna keep the puppet and do my miss the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy?
Hello. Couple items to segue. Joanne gave me a nice segue into Summer Reading Club. 168 Batavia readers in the adult and teen categories have completed their reading logs and turned them in. Many of them have turned in more than that, but at least 168 individuals have come in and finished their 4 books. Many have read many more than that, so it's really impressive when people come in and they're on their 4th log, meaning 16 books since the beginning of the program. Joanne had mentioned some per capita grant purchases that youth services made. In adult services, we have a wide variety of items that we purchased. Some of them were in specific collection areas to bolster those collections. For example, large print nonfiction was an area we were getting feedback from large print readers that they wanted us to augment. So we purchased some large print nonfiction books, some additional audiobooks, some e-audio books as well. Also some waterproof bags to help with home delivery on those days when it's raining or snowing, to keep those materials protected without doing some makeshift solutions. We now have a really nice looking library logo solution that is going to keep those materials dry. And also a large type keyboard that is really pretty nifty, that we'll have available if someone needs keys that are a little bit bigger and easier to see. We'll be able to plug that into any workstation in the department for someone to use. So it's just a sampling of some of the materials that we were able to purchase thanks to the per capita grant. I also wanted to call out the Questions and Ancestors genealogy program series. In the past month, Roseanne Freund, who puts together this series, hosted a program called Creating a Checklist for Genealogy Research. 76 people attended this program, which is a record for that series. We're absolutely delighted and astonished. When I share these numbers with my counterparts at other libraries, they can't even believe it. So 76 people for a genealogy program, pretty impressive. Doing some genealogy myself, creating a checklist for research, vital. So it's not surprising to me that this was a topic that really drew a crowd. We also have some very nice collaboration going on with the King County Genealogical Society, including a program later this week, a review and study session that follows up on a program that we co-hosted here called Did I Get Everything?, which kind of feeds into that whole checklist topic as well. So it's a follow-up session also that's a collaboration with the King County Genealogical Society. So we're delighted to work with those folks. It allows us to bring in some presenters that neither organization could necessarily be able to afford on their own, but together we have a big enough audience and can split some of those costs, and it really makes it possible to offer some nice things to people interested in that topic. Any questions?
That's great. Thanks, Stacy. Okay. Item 12 on our agenda is committee and official representative reports. We did not have a facilities meeting. We did not have a finance meeting. We did not have an outreach meeting. We did not have a services meeting. The Batavia Public Library Foundation did not meet. Friends of Batavia Public Library, they do not have a June-July meeting, as well as the Link, no meeting in July, August. Will there ever be any more meetings for them?
Yes.
1 or 2 more?
Probably no more than 2 or 3 at the absolute most.
Okay, and that'll be wrapped up by the end of this,
We-
at the end of next fiscal year, or?
No,
Or this fiscal year?
it will be,
Yeah, I'm trying, it's like we just changed, right? Yeah.
the fiscal year for Link began May 1st. There's like 7 different fiscal years in Illinois, so they don't judge very well. There will be, the audit is underway right now for Link. So I think the main audit for last year is nearly completed. And then there will be it's called a stub audit, isn't it? that will wrap up the partial fiscal year, and nearly everything that needs to be done by link is like this close to being done. So,
Okay.
and when the stub audit is complete, then we're allowed to disperse the remaining funds, and that will happen either October or November, I think.
Okay.
And then link will be completely done, except for there is one investment that had some difficulties. And money is being recuperated, or recovered, I should say, because of this one statewide organization that had some problems. And so there was a situation created with Bloomingdale Public Library as the fiscal agent, whereas monies are recovered from that, those will be dispersed to the member libraries. So we found out that we can actually dissolve link and disperse the bulk of the money without having to, let that linger on. So,
Okay.
quite excited.
All right, the end is near. Nice. Okay. Rich, did you attend the BATV meeting?
There was no meeting of the but since I wasn't at the last meeting, I didn't have a chance to talk about the main meeting.
Okay.
Just briefly mentioned that they had about 285 viewers for the graduation at NIU,
Nice.
which is a little bit lower than the past, but it was still pretty good. And there was Max Michelli and the husband of Joanne, Tom Zillman, are now completely trained to work live city council or committee of the whole meetings for the city council. So that's about it.
Excellent.
Andrew, before we move on,
Yeah.
the board did not meet,
Okay.
but they did have a book sale last Saturday
Oh, nice. Okay.
where they brought in $1,304.
Awesome.
And also, just to mention that on the 4th of August, they are having what they call their educators sale. So if you know of any teachers who need to stock their classrooms with books, the children's books will be being sold for 25 cents for a paperback and 50 cents for a hardcover.
Thanks.
So it's a great way for teachers to stock their classrooms.
And so does the organization send notices then to the school districts in the area?
Yes, that's all done to the public schools, to the Catholic schools, to the daycare centers,
Oh, nice. Okay.
as well as teachers come in to like a regular sale, they collect their email addresses and they send out a blast email.
Good. Okay. Great. Okay. Does anybody else have anything else for committee and official representative reports that I skipped over? Okay. Item 13 is an ordinance providing for and requiring the submission of the proposition of increasing the limiting rate for the Batavia Public Library District, Kane and DuPage counties to the voters of said library district at the general election to be held on the 6th day of November 2018. This is ordinance number 2018-008. How do we move forward with this, George? Is this,
Well,
read this, or?
No, it's 5 pages.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry, it's 7 pages.
Okay, thank you. I was hoping that was the answer, but,
However, one way of kicking off a discussion about it might be to
press
read
release.
the press release.
Okay.
Into the record. That might be it.
Okay. Is that my copy?
It's right there.
Oh, there's my copy. Thanks. So we put together a press release that you will release or send out tomorrow, but the release is Batavia Public Library places proposal on November ballot. At its meeting on July 17th, and that is, of course, depending on our conversations here, library trustees voted to place a proposal on the November 2018 ballot. While the proposal requests a 7-cent increase in the library's general operating tax rate, the overall tax rate for residents will not increase, given that the library's tax rate for debt retirement has been eliminated. That is, the debt has been retired. If the voters approve the referendum proposal, the board intends to use the revenue for maintenance, repairs, and expanded services. Our library is 20 years old. And community is aware that over time, the equipment, the systems need additional maintenance, repairs, and updates. In here, quote from George is that in addition to the library's financial needs for maintenance, repairs, and upgrades to equipment and services, the revenue from the referendum proposal will be used to meet community expectations for enhanced services and programs. The library proposal will appear on the November 6, 2018 ballot. So that's the consolidated general election in November. I guess just my comment on this is going to be a zero tax rate increase proposal. So that's what we believe is the appropriate time to do this, make this request to the community. Anything else that we need to say about this? We're going to have some great discussions on this in the community and as we move forward with this request. So
I have just one question about the first paragraph, the second sentence,
okay.
where it talks about the library's tax rate for debt return has been eliminated, the debt has been retired. It's past tense.
The final check will actually go out in December.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds like it's already happened.
Yeah, that's the phraseology that the person that wrote this put in that, but we can clarify that and make it.
And then the only other thing is there's a comment in the last.
It should be will be and will be retired, I think.
Well, when
think
would
so.
the 7% increase go into effect after?
Next year.
So at that same
Right.
time,
Right.
the debt it will be past tense. But I agree with you.
It just sounds like
Unless we
it's already
say in
happened.
19.
Right.
Well, if we said in December of 2018, the debt will be retired or something like
It
that.
isn't marked that way, but this should be considered a draft, so. yes,
Okay.
yeah.
The last sentence also, there's a comma after 2018.
Which is not unusual because it's setting off the year. But I mean, you see it both ways.
Okay.
There was intentional in this one, yes.
Okay, that's intentional, okay.
And the language for the ordinance itself has been worked through with the attorney to make sure that this is the appropriate language.
It was prepared by attorneys that specialize in referendum issues.
Okay, because I know that in our previous discussions about this is that the language is very specific. The way that it is presented to the voters is very specific. And so I just wanted to make sure that we were meeting the letter and the spirit of the law and our requirements as we lay this out for.
There is one question that the board needs to decide related
Okay.
to this. The version you have in front of you uses the exact tax rate that is being retired,
Okay.
which is 0.0704449%,
Okay.
which is 7 cents and a remarkably small fraction. The other option is that the board could choose to have that be simply 0.07%, so exactly 7 cents.
And that number came about because that was the number needed to retire the debt in a specific period of time?
The more precise number is the exact number that appears in the tax extension calculations from Kane County
Okay.
for the final payment for the tax, or for the final calculation for the taxes.
Okay.
And I think I would suggest that it be changed just simply to 7, because the other language says 7 cents and 0.07% would be 7 cents.
Just easier to comprehend, I think.
That being consistent with all the other percentages, would we round everything to the nearest hundred?
Well, the other...
The 37 and the .44 on top of page 2. I just,
Yeah, that...
if we're rounding one, I think we should round them all.
So
They're all very small
The
percentages.
ballot question
know.
itself, I don't think
Or
we
we
can
should-
change that, like, so the equalized value there, without, all of it carried out to the decimals, I think that would have to stay.
Yeah, we can, Kathy has both versions, depending on which one you want to, if you want to approve and sign one tonight. So the one version changes the retiring amount to .07. We didn't change the other. I don't know if there was any particular objection one way or the other, but we hadn't changed that because we're simply adding the .07 to the actual rate for the library's operating.
Which is this 0.370060%, right?
Correct. And that actually won't appear anywhere except on the ballot, so I don't,
Right, and because that's, the number back here on the ballot is this .070049 plus .370060 is the .440509.
Correct.
So the ballot won't be rounded.
No, the ballot, no, if you want to round the rate to 7 cents,
The ballot.
then the ballot would in fact be rounded as well.
Have we done the calculations to figure out what the cost is
They-
to
they-
that rounding?
It's about $5,000 a year.
I did the math.
And
Somebody did.
so, yeah, both versions have been certified by the attorneys.
Okay. I guess personally, the fact that on here is going to be all the digits anyway, I don't know that it matters.
It won't be.
Well, no, on the ballot itself.
It won't be.
Well, it'll be 7 here, but this will still be a long number.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a lot easier to say the 7 cents, I agree. And if that's the message that's going, it might be easy to find it, but I don't really have a strong preference.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other either. There's something that was brought up that it might be easier for people to comprehend 7 cents rather than
This really long number that everybody's used to seeing on there.
70449.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if that number shows up on the tax bill. I think that just shows up in the calculation.
Okay.
In the tax bill, I think it just gives a dollar amount, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess I'm slightly more in favor of just doing the point, the 7 cents, 0.07%, just because it is a little easier to talk to. And I think when I see these odd numbers, it's, I understand this number, but it seems like, why isn't it just 7 cents? So,
Well, because that question came up yesterday, maybe, yeah. So we clarified that there is no issue with rounding. It's the board's pleasure and all that. So.
Does anybody else have any comments or preference on whether we round the number or don't round the number? Does anybody else? Does anybody else have any questions or comments about the ordinance itself, separate from the number? Okay. So is the consensus then to go with the .07, the simpler number for simplification? Okay. For days, it's much easier. Okay.
To that point, I would imagine, George, that you will be fielding questions from here till November about the difference between a proposed increase and a no increase in the overall tax rate. That distinction will be, I think, in striving for simplicity, that will be, I think, the communication goal from here until November. So getting that really solid and crisp right at the front will be important.
And all that I can say is factual, informational, educational information. That's I will strive to do that very crisply and like that precision.
Okay.
Making it easy for people to understand what they're voting on
Exactly.
is good.
Because in one sentence, you have increase, no increase in the same sentence.
Oh, sure. Right, okay. Okay. Yeah, I see what
Mhm.
he's, yeah, okay. You're right, that can be clearer in how we say that, so. I think that is the point we want to make is for our ratepayers, this is a zero tax rate increase.
So if there is a way, following the press release, to have something that actually illustrates.
We've actually begun work on
Okay.
a public information piece that, like a brochure slash flyer that can be handed out, mailed out, that sort of thing, that presents all the facts. And I think using examples, comparing the actual documents, showing that this is what this says and this is what
What's
our
the
intention.
anticipated timeline for that piece?
As quickly as we can turn it around, we have two different people working on variations of it, and we'll be reviewing it and massaging it and having the attorneys look at it to make sure we're not saying anything that is improper in that. And, the idea is to begin the informational campaign by probably right after Labor Day. There may be questions prior to that, but the main informational campaign, is my understanding, will begin at that point. Because there's actually it's a short timeline, but it's also a complex timeline between them.
There's enough time, we believe, to get the information out to the voters and make sure that they have the information they need in order to make a decision. But it will be important that the library can get the information together quickly to get it out to everybody. So.
Right, I think there's an effort underway to organize
And a proposed timeline.
volunteers and that sort of thing, and a proposed timeline to address these issues.
Early voting is
September 27th.
seventh. So we want to make sure that prior to that date, we have it, well, sooner than that, but definitely that would be we want to make sure that everybody has the information they need by then, because early voting is happening with higher numbers every year, so we want to make sure that everybody that votes, not just those that vote on the consolidated election day, that everybody that goes in and votes has the information they need. Okay, are there any other questions or comments on this? So I need a motion to approve ordinance 2018-008 with the number reflected as 0.07%. Is that the right way to say that?
07 cents.
Well, it was 0.07%.
Okay.
Which comes up to 7 cents.
It's interesting, the actual number ends up being .0007, but it's times per $100 that's valuation, so it's 7. It is
7 cents.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's how it's there.
Yeah, it's big.
Just to make it more complicated, you've got to add zeros and remove.
Probably need to stop explaining it because nobody understands what you're saying.
Exactly. There's the crisp thing.
Yeah. All right, can I have a motion to approve the ordinance as amended? Thank you, Joanne.
Second.
Thank you, Jenny. We will need a voice vote for this, please.
No, roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call. Thank you. Sorry.
Blodgett,
Aye.
Kuletta,
Aye.
Beechman,
Aye.
Garrett,
Aye.
Enders.
Aye.
McKenzie.
Aye.
Smith, aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Excellent, so we'll get that ready to go. The next item on the agenda is future agenda items. July meeting, let's see, August is the audit of Secretary's records. Will you report on that?
We're all, Jenny and Kate, and we've almost got all the stuff pulled together for that.
Okay. So do you,
I need to, I'll send you guys an email, we can schedule it.
perfect. Sounds good.
Nothing specific. Let's see, the August will also have the certification of the audit.
No, it's the Illinois Public Library Annual Report. They call it IPLAR.
Okay.
Sorry, it's the library's annual report to the state library,
Okay.
the Secretary of State.
We'll move forward on some of the objectives for the strategic plan. September, there's nothing specific on the agenda. October is our ordinance levying our tax for buildings and equipment. That's also one of those things that the more you explain it, the harder time I have with it. So there's a number of things on October's agenda. There'll be another busy meeting.
As we get into October, November, that's levy season.
Okay, that's why we move forward with other taxing issues. Okay. Very good. Does anybody else have any questions about upcoming agenda items? All right, the next meeting we have scheduled, we'll have August committee meetings?
That's those that need to. Yes.
Okay, so, and we'll have committee meetings first week of August, and then board meeting, the district board meeting is the 21st of August. Does anybody have anything else? Then I need a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Jenny. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great, thank you, everybody.